Views and opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the staff or management of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast.
Well, hi there, and welcome to this week's edition of the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast. I'm John Engelman. Happy that you're here. In this week's episode, we're talking to award-winning chef Matthew Cooper about his newest restaurant, Rin, which is almost a year old. But before we get to that, how about we just call it breaking news? And we start with downtown Springdale and Bistro 16 owner, executive chef William Mock.
Yeah, we're moving. And so this isn't a secret. We've been looking for another space for a year now. When we made that shift from Bienvenue to Bistro 16, we knew Bistro 16 was like a stopgap for until we find a new home for Bienvenue. My original plan, I was going to have two restaurants. Screw all that shit. I mean, it really is. One of them is hard enough.
The new spot will be in Rogers, though the location is under wraps for now.
We do have a new tenant coming in here. I'm sure they'll be announcing soon, and it's exciting for them. And this is going to be a pretty cool transition.
We are going to move into Bistro 16 spot where William Mock is, right on the Greenway, right around the corner from the new Onyx.
That's Nosh Nola owner Hayne Begley. They're currently in the Bentonville Brewing Building, and they'll remain there. They're growing, and it's going to be a place where they'll be able to do more.
We are going to move a little bit, and into a little bit bigger space and do some more operations. So full bar, we're going to add more of a dinner menu than what we have. We'll bring all the favorites from here down, but then the dinner menu is going to add some things like redfish, broiled oysters, all the fun things you want in New Orleans.
So first step, Bistro 16 will close their doors in downtown Springdale.
For our new spot that we've found, there will be some announcements for that as well. But what we can tell you is that our last service is May. We're going to finish out May and take June to be able to clean and inventory and wrap everything and get things kind of sorted with this building and all of our stuff.
This whole thing is bittersweet for Chef Mock.
That's the sad part about leaving this area. It is the people. It's not the construction or the or the parking issues or anything like that. No, it's the hard part is the leaving the neighborhood behind.
There was some action Monday at the Bentonville Square as Onyx soft opened their pickup window in the Bentoville space. Speaking of Bentoville, no opening date has been announced, but we think it'll be soon, as folks were outside cleaning windows on Monday, which may very well be nothing. We'll see. Also on Monday, Bentoville announced that Chef Shin Takagi will be guiding the kitchen. According to their post, every recipe developed at Bentoville is workshopped, tasted, and approved by him before it reaches the table. Listen to this. Chef Takagi's restaurant, Zanaya, has earned 2 Michelin stars and is named by La Liste as one of the world's top restaurants. Woof. Follow the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas on Instagram and Facebook, where we'll let you know the second we hear of an opening date. The Protein House is rounding third and heading for their grand opening. They'll be opening Monday, June 1st. They are located at 2301 West Pleasant Grove Road. The Protein House is a health-focused, fast-casual restaurant chain that serves high-protein, made-to-order meals for fitness-minded individuals. June 1st is a popular day, as the long-awaited PJ's Coffee will also be opening that day. It was announced at the start of the year that they'd have a coffee shop near Whole Foods in the Summit Shopping Center in Rogers. PJ's is a New Orleans-born coffee house chain known for its authentic Southern hospitality, small batch roasted beans, and signature cold drip iced coffees. Keeping it in the Summit Shopping Center, I hopped over to where they're building out Dave's Hot Chicken to check it out. The rumor going around is that Dave's would be opening this Memorial Day weekend. I think it's safe to say that that's not going to be quite the case, as construction is running a little bit behind. I shot him an email and will let you know what I hear. Wait, June 1st opening right here. My girl Mallory Files will be opening her new Ozark Charcuterie location in downtown Rogers. It'll be located inside the First Street Flats development at 401 North First Street. Here's Mallory telling you what to expect.
It's a lot smaller. It's about 650 square feet. And so we got to be really strategic with our space and our usage. And so I have basically cut out the bar aspect of it. It's still going to have like a little sip space, but think really nice wines that are still approachable and affordable. Think really yummy gourmet cheeses in the same space of like making cheese approachable, because sometimes you get a little scared around the cheeses. And then some of my favorite like kitchen things are going to be in there. Some of my favorite books are going to be in there. Just a space of my favorites.
Handel's Ice Cream is coming right along in Fayetteville at the old Burger King at 2345 North College Avenue, as most of the signs are up. Look for them to open late spring, early summer. We'll let you know when we know. Okay, heads up for this tease. Our guy chef Aaron Walters at Musolet posted this Sunday. Ghost Drop is coming. He says it'll be a stylized smash burger ghost kitchen here in Northwest Arkansas. No reservations needed, no permanent storefront. Just premium patties and exclusive creations. He'll have launch details soon, meaning that we will too. Some sad news out of Fayetteville as Moon House announced that they have closed. For now. I went over there Monday to get some video, and the inside looked untouched. The sign out front said that Moon House was closed for renovations, but they posted on Saturday that they'd be closed until further notice and thanked their customers and said that a potential future return is being explored. Homegrown first came to Northwest Arkansas and opened in Springdale. Soon they had locations also in Rogers and Bentonville. Now they'll have the big four. The Fayetteville Flyer reported yesterday that Homegrown will be going in at the South Yard on MOK in Fayetteville. No word yet on when they'll open or even start construction. Speaking of the Fayetteville Flyer, they made note last week of the iconic Herman's Rib House that they've been closed for nearly 2 months. In early March, the owners said that they'd be closed the week of March 23rd for spring break. On April 1st, they posted that they would be taking an extended spring break, and they're still not open. I've reached out to owners Nick and Carrie Wright, and we'll let you know what or if I hear anything. The Flyers article got me to thinking about another spot in Fayetteville that's been closed for a while, and that's Proving Grounds Coffee on Zion across from the Fayetteville Athletic Club. They posted last August that they'd be closing for a few weeks for rebranding. I reached out last year for an update, and they said they were going to remodel, and nothing's happened since then, and their website is down. We've emailed them, and we'll let you know what we hear back. And this week's Flavors Flashback, we go to one of my all-time favorite Mike Engelman Home Pro Tips of the week. Here's Darwin Beyer from Meiji and Chuo Izakaya. It is time for our weekly Mike Engelman Home Pro Tip of the Week, and for that we will go to Darwin. Darwin, what do you have for people that are at home that are just kind of not looking forward to another dinner and something sounds good and they're thinking, Japanese sounds good, what do I do?
Oh, well, that's for my household. I've got two young sons, and two things that they really like a lot is tempura shrimp and fried rice. I mean, yeah, they can munch that stuff down all day long, or the fried rice goes with them during lunch, so I heat them up, stick in a little thermos. So the big tidbits on tempura shrimp is use cold water, ice cold water when you fry it. So cold water or cold ice or cold soda water, add that with your tempura batter, and then drop it in. It makes it way crispier, way fluffier, way lighter. It's way, way better. And then add a little bit pinch of salt or any kind of seasoning you want to, and it adds a whole different flavor to it. Or you want to spice it up.
Huge tip.
Yeah.
I never even heard of that.
Yeah, it's amazing what ice soda water will do.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's and then fried rice. This is my mom's recipe, and hopefully she doesn't hear this and I don't screw it up. So how she always did it, she would take bacon and cook off bacon, and then she would get the fat from the bacon, take the bacon
listening.
out. Yeah, exactly. Everybody loves bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then so she'd take the bacon out, put it off to the side in an oven, let it dry out a little bit. But she would use the bacon grease as the oil, and so she would fry the rice off. Put your egg in first, put your rice in next, or your veggies, however you want to do it. A little bit of soy sauce, salt, and pepper. And then as she was almost done, she would take that crispy bacon and throw it back in. And my kids just smother that stuff.
Chef Matt Cooper had been planning Wren for a while. In fact, he was planning Wren before conifer, and he'll tell you why and the story behind it. He'll also talk about Wren's sustainable hospitality and how it's fueled by a crop-to-kitchen concept, with Sun Painted Farm being just behind the restaurant. Speaking of, how hard is it to plan a farm around a restaurant menu? Or is it vice versa? Finally, he'll talk about a documentary that he's involved with, and that's all next, right here on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas podcast. Looking for a liquor store that actually takes care of you? Check out Macadoodles in Pineville and Guess Who in Bentonville, where customers always come first. From open to close, enjoy complimentary white and red wine samples at both locations. Curious about spirits? Well, they've got spirit tastings too. And when a new barrel buy comes in, there will be an open bottle so you can try it. If not, just ask. Within reason, they will be happy to pop one open. At Macadoodles in Pineville, check out their exclusive private label wines and spirits. The price is good and the quality is better. Buying a 12-pack of beer? Well, you'll get a free 3-ounce bag of ice because details matter. They'll also help with the big carry-out orders. And if it's raining, not to worry. Umbrellas are waiting for you up front. And if you want to save money, join the loyalty program at both places. Macadoodles in Pineville and Guess Who in Bentonville. Taste before you buy and feel taken care of every time.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. Innovating to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org.
Welcome back. We are at Wren, and we're here with Chef Matt Cooper. Matt, how are you, bud?
Doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
It's looking great in here, by the way. I was pulling up and I thought it's nice weather. It needs to be patio weather. It's finally opened up.
Yeah, finally.
I know. It took a little time.
It did take some time.
Of course, I say that, and of course, Monday it'll start raining again.
Yes,
but
it will.
Anyway, we're finally here to talk about Wren. You and I have had several podcasts in the past, but we have not talked about Wren. So I'm happy to be back doing that. Coming up on the 1-year anniversary.
Yeah, coming up in June. Yeah, the next month. Yeah,
it's sneaking up, right?
It's crazy. Yeah, I can't even think about it.
Can't even fathom it that way. Let me see. For those that, and it's a majority of you out there that don't know, you were my 5th interview overall.
That was a minute ago, too.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah, that was awesome.
And you didn't know me, and I didn't know you, and we know each other now a little bit, which is great. But I want to get into some of the things we talked about because I think 98% of my audience has no idea that exists.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to get into the beginnings.
Okay.
The Matt Cooper. Talk about cooking. Did you do that as a kid?
So I grew up in Arkansas, in
Okay.
every corner of the state.
Sure.
My father, grandfather, and great-grandfather were all Methodist ministers, so we moved a lot.
Yeah, man.
My mother and her entire side of the family were food technologists. M&M Mars, Uncle Ben's, Riceland Foods. She was their leading food technologist in '97 before her passing. And so, we moved around everywhere. So food and kind of community building was always a huge part of my life and my upbringing,
Sure.
and kind of a constant narrative in our life. So, yeah, I cooked. We never ate out growing up ever. It just was one of those things. It was partially income based, and it was
Sure.
partially we definitely didn't grow up well off. But then also we it was just kind of a part of a narrative of our lives. Like my mother made everything from scratch. She was definitely not a chef, and she definitely was not the best cook.
Yeah.
Most people think, oh, food technologist. Food technologist just means that my mother could take anything from a store, titrate it, use chemicals, stuff like that, and then reproduce it. Like that's how smart she was. So it's like I come from a
different kind of recipe.
I'm definitely the black sheep of my family. Everyone else has doctorates and double masters and things like that.
Sure.
Me here with my little associate's degree, and I love to cook. I was pre-med back in the day, and I was just like, no,
Yeah.
My wife was like, at some point, she was like, just cook, because that's what I'd done the entire time. So cooking growing up was, I cooked with my mother a little bit.
Okay.
But that didn't really stick, and that didn't really solidify as something I wanted to do until after she passed.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And what was it was it the creativity? What was the really kind of sucked you in, do you think?
I think it was the thing that sucked me in originally was just the energy, and most people just would say this is like, money. I started working in kitchens when I was like 16.
Yeah, man.
I lied my way into my first management position as a server trainer manager at like a family restaurant in Jonesboro when I was in college there.
I'm going to stop you right there. How did that happen?
That was really easy. I just walked in. I was like 18, I think, and I needed a job during college, and I walked into this family restaurant, and it was like they had put an application out or a request out for like a server, and I got there and they're like, we did that, but we need a manager. And I was like, they were like, you ever managed? I was like, sure. And they were like, really? I was like, yeah. They're like, well, whatever. Just like, we'll give you 3 days, and if it works out, cool. Yeah. And so they gave me 3 days, and it worked out. I worked overnights, so I was going to school for pre-med or bachelor's in biology at that point, and then so I'd work from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then started, and then would immediately go to school till 12, sleep, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Awful.
It was rough.
Yeah.
I definitely became a night human.
Yeah.
And strange people come out at nighttime.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
So it was very interesting. I did that for about a year and a half, and then, so I mean, hospitality, I've always been front and back of the house.
Yeah.
So most restaurants until Conifer and Wren, I was the general manager and executive chef. I did both.
I used to do some late night, early morning radio stuff back in the day, and you would talk about some weird phone calls.
It's a different environment.
It is way different.
The creatures that come out at night.
That's exactly it. So you decide on that. You end up getting you go to the Pacific Northwest to learn to cook. Really?
Yeah, I went to I off and on trying to go. I was in and out of college, going to bachelor's biology. Moved to Austin, Texas in 99. Got married there, and then moved back to Arkansas, got divorced, and then started back in college, and then met my wife and partner now, and just kind of started on the track, and had just been cooking the entire time. Yeah. I actually got, strangely enough, I got a degree in locksmithing. I'm a master locksmith as well in Austin. I come from a family of overachievers, or so. When my mother passed, I told my dad I wanted to quit college and take a break. He was like, "Great. Where are you going to go to college?" And I was like, "I need to take a break." And he was like, "Great. Where are you going to go to college?" So I was like, okay, well, my friend was in Austin, and he had gone to locksmith. So I was like, oh, well, that should be easy. And it was really fun, and it was great. And I actually worked as a locksmith in Northwest Arkansas in Rogers 20 years ago when I moved back.
No kidding.
While I was cooking too, yeah. So, and then just finally at some point, I think around 2000 something, my wife was like, just cook. Let's do it. And so we had been moving back and forth, and moved to Portland, got my degree there, cooked over the city for about 7 years, and then moved back and kind of started this narrative in my brain and why I wanted to come back and make a difference in the state that I came from, and really push this farm to table movement and what that meant from a sustainability standpoint and a community-based involvement standpoint, and growing that and nurturing it and kind of developing a different narrative around what people consider farm to table.
Good chefs taste their food.
Yeah.
Without exception. I've learned that of the many things that I've learned in doing this. Along the way, you had to taste food that was not real friendly to you.
Yeah.
Tell me about going through that process and fighting through it.
Yeah, so I was when my sister had got diagnosed with celiac probably in 2005.
Okay.
Around 5. I was in Portland at the time cooking, and when she got diagnosed, she was like, listen, there's a 90% chance you're celiac and all these problems you've had your entire life. Because I was just in excruciating pain most of my life.
Jeez.
After I ate, and I just, I remember distinctly my mother and I we'd eat, and then we'd literally go lay down on the bathroom floor, on the cold floor, and just talk to each other for about 30 minutes until the pain subsided.
Oh, man.
And we just thought that was life, because there was no, we grew up in rural Arkansas. Nobody was diagnosing celiac. I never even heard of that.
Right.
And so when I was cooking in Portland, luckily I was in a kind of different environment and stuff like that. But I mean, I was working for fine dining Italian restaurants.
Yeah.
And I was I had 2 stations. I had let me count this. I had 12 burners by myself. Like, and so I was pasta and saute at this one restaurant on the Southwest waterfront. So fine dining, small plate, Italian, and like I made 30 pounds of pasta every day, tagliolini, tagliatelle, pappardelle. I made focaccia. I made and everything we tried, every single dish I tried and stuff like that. And I came from that. I in school, especially like at Western Culinary, which was Le Cordon Bleu Schools Northwest. We were taught all that classic French, and European. And I also worked for the oldest German restaurant in the United States, which was Gustav's and Der Rhinelander, which had been open like 50 years. I think it finally closed down like 2 or 3 years ago. So it was nuts. But, I remember telling my chef, I was like, hey, listen, there's a possibility I have celiac. And he was like, and?
Great.
It was like, that was the start of the recession there. Like 2007 was a horrible recession. And like, I remember I was working 2 jobs. I was working as a chef during the daytime. And then I was working at night times as a manager for a local produce company. It was called Limbo on Holgate and 39th, and an amazing little place. That's like where I developed my love for like medicinal teas and herbs and things like that. They had a little tea store and stuff like that, and then a produce market. And still to this day, I'm not knocking any of the things that I do, but like some of the happiest I've ever been is just like working in that little produce store, like talking to the farmers that come in at like 5 or 6 a.m. In the middle of the rain, unpacking trucks. Like it was to have that connection to where the food was grown and stuff like that was just really huge. And then being able to, like, the restaurants I worked for, we would go out to the farms and literally harvest what we wanted. Like it was way different than even here. Like very, very, very unique in the way that we thought about things. But being able to do all that, it was just really hard being celiac. And so that continued. Like I had to set my goal pretty quickly. When I realized that like I was not going to be in a space where there were no gluten-free restaurants. There was no place that was safe for me. And so I was like, okay, if I'm going to do something and I'm going to be healthy, I have to make a change. And I have to be on a fast track. So like I was like a sous at that time, and I was like, we have to move. And the economy was terrible anyway, because I'd interviewed for another job that was kind of a Mediterranean place that I thought that was a new restaurant opening in Portland. And I was like, oh, like maybe I can get away with like probably not trying the bread or making it if I can move up, if I can be a sous or an exec or something like that.
Right.
And, I applied for this one job, and I remember there was like 300 people in line. I finally get to the seat, and I sit down, and the guy's like, okay, what's the lowest amount of money you're willing to take? Because the guy behind you has twice the experience and he'll take less. And I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I was like, no, we're done. And so I got up and went home and talked to my wife, and we were like, we're moving back to Arkansas.
Yeah.
Moved back, worked for Chenal Country Club. And then, that was still like, that place is just, and man, working for a big place like that is just, it's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot, to say the least. Horror stories. But we, and then I got a job finally as my first executive chef job. Quickly after that, it was pretty much on a fast track, and then again opened Cash Restaurant in Little Rock, and was able to start. But still, just that's when a tipping point with my health really happened.
Okay.
I drank a lot of red wine because there's enzymes in red wine that kind of like help break down gluten. And so my doctor was like, in Portland, of course, it would be a doctor in Portland that said this. It was like, listen, like until you do it, like just drink red wine. So I was like, well, that's not a problem. And so
that may be a reason why I don't have celiac right there.
And that really helped for a while. But my health just took a really bad turn when I was in Little Rock. And then that was the exact time when like I started hearing these whispers of like someone wanted someone up here. And then they started reaching out to me and kind of were talking with me. That was like Rob Apple back in the day, talking with me like, hey, listen, we'd love to see you up here and stuff like that. And I was like, I just started this restaurant in Canada. And then finally I was like, okay, I'll come up there. And then I got up here, and just like so many other people that come here for the first time. And like I said, I'd been here 20 years prior, and I was like, there was nothing.
Right.
And I came up here place. And I was like, my daughter was in Montessori school, but she was aging out. And it was like, just, I say this a lot in my life. I've been very fortunate where I've seen very visible clues of doors opening in my life. And it's been like, walk through that door. And I think I'm really grateful for a lot of those things. So I did. I was just like, nope, this is it. We're walking through this door. We went there and, helped found Rub Swing. and moved up here and opened Preacher's Son. It was kind of named after me, designed around me, and then all the other things, the church and things like that. And then for the first time ever, I had a restaurant, and that's one of the beautiful things that I still to this day, I'll say, that vision of what the progressive nature of what Bentonville's doing is like, they didn't blink twice. They were like, we want you. And I was like, I can't do this unless it's 100% gluten-free restaurant, or dedicated. Like I can't continue to kill myself. And they were like, fine. No questions asked, right? Now, Preacher's Son is not that way anymore since I've left, because why would you take a handicap if you don't need it? But and that's great for me.
I'm about to say, I don't know if I'd call it a handicap, but go ahead.
No, it's not I don't think it's a handicap at all. And what I tell people all the time, and when they ask, you're like, how do you do that? I was like, it's easy. It just never comes in the door, so it's not an ingredient we work with, and we just we do everything else, which means that we just have, and we'll talk about this later, but we have visibility on where all of our food comes from.
Yeah.
Because I have to know, and what does that mean? It's like, well, even if I have major vendor, like Benny Keith, we use Benny Keith, and Raymond's been with us for I've used him for 20 something years. It's crazy. He's a good dude. But anytime I order rice, you're like, oh, rice is gluten-free. Well, but some rice runs down conveyor belts that they processed wheat 5 minutes earlier, and you can't have that. So he has to call every single company that we order from, and traceability. Now we're at a different level now. We know where everything comes from, for the most part. But yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a struggle.
It's a struggle. So your Preacher's Son, when did you get the itch to go off on your own, or had it always been there?
No, it had already been there.
Okay.
Always been there.
Right.
I think that, and that was always the plan, really. Anyway, it was to get Rope Swing up and running, get Preacher's up and running, doing really well, sustainable, and it had been. It was in all aspects, what I thought was really amazing is we hit the ground running and we're sustainable since the beginning. Conifer in this place too. We have been extremely grateful, and I say we, and the people that I surround myself with that share the same vision for what we're doing for this community and what we're doing with food and the farmers and all those things and everything that ties into the culture and everything else. It's really been beneficial, and so yeah, it was super fun. And there was a lot of frustration and a lot of hard times. And I knew that I eventually wanted to be just a restaurant that was mine and mine alone, and actually build a culture that was different and kind of try to change what hospitality meant and what sustainable hospitality really meant in this region, especially growing up where I did, where people, even if you got paid good, you didn't have benefits. And if you had benefits, you had to work for a corporate place. And it just didn't offer the cultural aspect of the things that I wanted. And I was like, well, and I've never liked anyone telling me I can't do anything. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. And so that's what we did when we opened Conifer. It was time to step away. The company just got too big and too many people. And, I think they've done amazing things. I just think that, at some point it was always my vision to get out anyway, and got a good relationship. And I was like, it's time. Now it's time.
Absolutely. Also, speaking of culture, I worked in restaurants in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
A little different from
it's a little different
then
now.
to now.
It's not, depending on what restaurant you work for, but it's...
and I'm making reference to here and you.
Oh, yeah.
And what it is that you're... a culture you're in the midst of building, and continue. You're always building culture. It doesn't stop.
It never stops.
It never stops, as you well know.
It is the hardest thing to maintain in the entirety of the hospitality industry, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I guess part of that's hiring, and that's managing people, and that's a part of the culture as well. But we all saw it back then, and you learned by what not to do. I think.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
you mentioned that in episode 5.
Yeah, and I think that was the biggest thing is especially moving to the Pacific Northwest, moving to a place where hospitality and food culture were very alive and well, and people were doing things that people in this area had not seen and still haven't seen. It's just the way that it is. But and New York and stuff like that. Now I can say that's not the case now.
Yeah.
Right. There's amazing things happening in Bentonville. There's amazingly talented people that are doing things, because a lot of people that are here that have been here and stayed here and they're doing it, and there are people that have moved out like myself and come back and brought that influence and brought everything that we learned back to this place. And I think that's been really good. But the culture's been hard. Yeah,
it's hard, but you're also being able to have full-time staff and benefits. Tell me about that, because that's unusual.
So when I decided to open Conifer, I said, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going to leave Preacher Son. I'm not going to do all this stuff unless I can offer the same benefits and change culture. With me, it's always yes and.
Right.
You know, it always is, because it doesn't, like, I constant evolution. Like, if you're not evolving, if you're not changing, I'm not saying that it is kind of that narrative in hospitality.
The end is you're dying.
Yes, the end is you're dying.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, exactly. So I was like, we're going to do this. So 6 months after opening Conifer, we started full coverage of benefits for all of our people. We pay 50% of that. We've stuck with that, and then now we're up to, like, we do paternity leave and paternity leave,
That's great.
maternity and paternity leave for all of our full-time employees.
Unbelievable.
We do paid time off for all of our employees, including part-time people. That happened like a year ago, and It was like, we were just thinking, like, I was talking with Haley, my general manager, who's been with me since she was like a server at Press Room back in the day.
Oh, wow.
And now she manages and runs both restaurants with me. And I was like, why don't we do this?
Yeah.
I was like, why wouldn't, if someone's worked for us for like 6 months, like why wouldn't we give them 2 days off if they work 2 days a week? Like, why wouldn't we do that? And she was like, I don't know, do it. I was like, yeah, do it. And it's just like
Nice.
being able to, and that's why I left.
Yeah.
Because I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. I want to be able to make any decision I want for my company and for myself and my people on a dime, and be able to change it when I need to, based on the needs of our people.
Yeah. Amazing. A few things about Conifer before we jump into Ren.
Yeah.
Out of the gates, you guys are getting recognition. I know you don't like talking about that sort of thing, but you start getting some James Beard Whispers. You start getting in best new restaurants of 2023, et cetera, et cetera. You start gaining fire, and that's got to be something that kind of built you guys up.
Yeah, I think that all the accolades that we've had, I think, have been just really amazing. I think the biggest thing about it has been that we did it by ourselves.
Yeah.
And no help other than what we are. We're not paying people for PR. We're not doing multimedia advertising to try to get awards and or recognition or anything like that. Like, we just literally put our heads down and tried to focus on the things that we thought mattered to this community and to our people, and and those two pillars keep us running every day, and those nice things happened. And so it is great recognition, not only for our people, because this is a hard industry, and you put hours and hours and hours. It's like the people that you work with have to be your friends, because you work 16 hours a day with them. You don't have a life. Most people don't have a life out of that, especially if you're in management,
Yeah, for sure.
I joke all the time. I'm like, Haley's my true north. Like whatever she says, like, she knows me better than anyone, other than my wife. And it's just like, the people that you surround yourself with make the difference between success and failure.
Yeah, she's great. She's great, by the way. And finally, for Conifer, construction. You guys finally have a sidewalk.
We do have a sidewalk. Yeah. I would say that I am a good businessman. And I plan very well because my brain works like a computer. I am very neurodivergent. I am ADHD. I wake up every morning and a computer screen pops up, and everything that has to be done that day, the next week, the next month, the rest of my life, and everything that's happened beforehand, and all the people that are involved.
It's a lot of open browsers.
It's all there, and it's just filtering through the things. And so that leads me off the rails sometimes, but then it also gives me this amazing ability to see what's coming sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm not psychic, so obviously can't see everything, but you plan for the best, and I knew what could work. And we knew that construction was going to happen. We didn't know that they were going to, like, completely take a sidewalk away.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, you're like, oh, well, that's not a big deal. Well, when the city gives your address a Second Avenue address and not a Central Avenue address, and that's the address where people Google to go, and they go to a back parking lot where you can't enter through a building, but then there's no way to get out of that instead of turning around and going around. And then when there's no parking because they took away the parking, and there's nowhere to park, and there's nowhere to find, and then you have to go across the street, down a hill, and it's just, it's rough. I mean, a lot of local restaurants really suffered during that time.
Yeah.
And that was like 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, a lease is 5 years.
Jeez.
And so what any and then you have like what's happened with, kind of like, I hate, people don't like the word recession, but like we've definitely seen inflation. We've definitely seen costs go up 35%, labor go up 35%, like insurance go up 35%, like all these things go up, and then sales are down 25%, which is not indicative of Bentonville or this area at all, right? Because like I said, we plan for all these things. So there's that question of sustainability again. But we have a sidewalk now. Feels like the floodgates have opened up. It feels like there's access. And then they'll start construction on the other two sides of the square in the next few months, and then it'll be fine. But and then we start all over. But that's the price of this growth, right? And you have to learn. You have to learn to kind of live within it. Now, do I think that we should learn about some words like infrastructure and stuff like that? Absolutely. But that's a talk for another day.
And a very long talk.
And a very long talk. Yeah. But yes, all good.
So I don't know if you remember this, but back on the 5th episode, you broke news that we're starting a farm.
Right.
He's like, you said some people know, but it's not out there public yet. So you broke that to tens of 20s of people back on episode number 5. But that was this.
Yeah.
Talk to me about building that out and building Wren and how long that had been in your mind.
Oh, wow.
Since 8th grade, or?
Yeah. So I do have a vivid memory. I don't have a lot of like beautiful culinary origin stories. I definitely don't have that. Like I said, it just kind of something fell in my lap, and I really love it. And I will still always say that I am 70% humanitarian, like community builder, and 30% chef. I will always say that.
There you go.
But I think I always wanted, my grandfather on my mother's side always had a farm. Like he always had a garden, and he always grew everything. And I mean, he started the food technology program at U of A. Like he taught at Texas A&M and started the food technology program there, and all my uncles followed suit. But I think just seeing that, I think it's just like what I told you. I was like, I don't want anyone to have to tell me what to do. Like if when I wanted to build, when Conifer worked, Conifer, like we were doing this the entire time. We built Conifer. Conifer opened first. Conifer was our project that gave us the go ahead for what we could do with Wren.
Okay.
Right. It was basically like our litmus test.
You don't want to call Conifer a test.
It's not. No. It ended up being like, obviously it was something that we wanted for downtown. It's something that we wanted to do. It was going to be the casual thing, but like we knew that if Conifer was successful and we could do all the things that we did there and support local farmers in the way in which we did. And that means like there's an element of locality on every dish, and it's a major component, and anything else comes from the Pacific Northwest, flown to us the next day. Like we know all the farmers there, and that traceability had to be there. And if we could do that and it be successful, then that would be the go ahead to, okay, listen, what we're going to do now is we're going to like do everything that we do there and put one more notch on it. And the notch is growing our own food.
Yeah.
And then other things. So we were able to do, we built it. It took 5 years. It took 2.5 years because no one had ever put a septic system out in the middle of the country. and so it took 2 years to get a change of use from, because it's all ag land, which is great.
Yeah.
But to change it to commercial use.
Oh, no.
And we live on the land too. So it's a 50-acre plot of land. My partner and I, Paul Esterer, he's a very thoughtful, amazing developer here in town. Yeah. And he rehabilitates old properties is his passion, and like brings life to them again. Nice. And kind of gives honor to that and stuff like that. And so we're in an 1800s pre-Civil War house right now. And there was like an extension in the 2000s, and they kind of built a house over the house, and we found that when we did it, and we kind of kept the original structure and stuff like that, and just kind of did that. But that was another thing. It's like just like construction anywhere, what should have been a 6-month project was in a year and a half, 2-year project to get it to the finish line. And then, you can add dollar signs to that and
always
and things and all the fun things. And, and I think that's what I love about talking to people like you is like, it's like, 'cause people don't ever really think about this. Like there's not a narrative of like how people get there. You know, it's like, oh, look at this. It's amazing. It's flashy. It's but like, no, it's like 5 years, to get to the finish line. And then we finally opened in June. And we kind of hit the ground running. In fact, we opened for 2 days. We did 2 days of soft openings, and then we shut down. We went to the James Beard awards.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. I remember that timing.
Because Conifer was up for finalist James Beard that year.
That's right.
And then we didn't get it that year, obviously, but like then we came, and it was great. But we came back, and then we opened the restaurant.
Yeah.
So
I remember
it was
that.
like, but you just had to push to get it, to get it open.
Yeah.
And then it's been really good. There's definitely been challenges.
Yeah.
Just like anything else, but
Sure.
it's been really good, and being able to do it has really, I tell everyone this all the time, but like I didn't build Ren for myself. Like the whole thing is like, remember your name. It's my grandmother used to sign all of her letters, remember your name, and she would say, we're a reflection of those who came before us and those yet to be, so we have to honor each other because we can only learn, evolve, and grow together. And so I built this for a lot of young creative people to be able to have a platform to kind of do it under the supervision of myself and that support. Yeah. And it's doing. I've got Tommy O'Connor, who was my sous chef at Preacher's Son back in the day, and went off and worked for Jason Paul, and then went to Denmark for a while, and then came back and helped me open this. I've got Christine Irwin, who was my sous chef at Conifer, and we've got 2 students that are just absolutely amazing. We've got a very, very small knit crew. I've got Sarah Harden, who's our pastry chef, and she was like, I love connections. The human connection is just is so important to me.
Absolutely.
But she was Jody Harden, one of the first organic farmers that started the Little Rock Farmers Market. This was his daughter. So when I was growing up cooking in Little Rock, she was running around the farmer's market, and she came and interviewed with me back at Conifer back in the day. And she said Harden. I was like, I know some Harden. She was like, oh, that's my dad. I went, wait, what?
Time out.
And I was like, did you not just you could have just led with that. And it probably would have been so much easier. But so she's our pastry chef now, and she worked for Markham and Fitz
Very cool.
Years. And so like, there's so many creative people that have come together to do this. And just like at Conifer, like, all the tables here were made by Matt Buell, who's a local craftsman. That's just, I mean, he's an artist too. He's just an amazingly talented individual. And
That's
then,
great.
Everything came together. So it worked out really well.
You had mentioned earlier about the numbers at Conifer with the construction and the kind of rough road it's been. I'm not breaking news here by saying that it's been tough for a lot of restaurateurs, nationwide at least right now. There was something that came out. It actually came out today, but this will air a week later. So we'll just say it came out a week ago. CBS News posted a story about a restaurateur in Dallas. He's been in business for 40 years. Mm-hmm. And he said since March, outside of the first 2 months of COVID, since March, this has been the craziest time he's seen in his entire career. Now, I get that in Dallas. I get that in the big city where a lot of people are immediately affected. And I know there were for a lot of things will get here a little bit later. And like COVID got here later, made its way eventually. But is that inflation hitting here like it is there, you think?
I mean, maybe it's just... It's not just us. No. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think definitely Bentonville is in a little bit of a bubble. But I think we'd be naive to say that we can't be affected by the things that are happening in the world.
Right.
And we definitely are. I mean, we've seen, across the board, there's so much growth. I think it's 2 things. It's a lot of things actually. There's a lot of things happening in Bentonville, but you've got so much growth happening here, right? It's just exponential growth. So you've got I've been having these conversations for 10 years, like cannibalization of the market. What does that look like, right? Like a lot of restaurants. I do believe you're going to see a lot of restaurants fall off. We had 80 restaurants open in Northwest Arkansas last year. Yeah. And so whether you want to believe it or not, or you want to admit it or not, as a business owner, as a restaurateur, as a hospitality professional, you have to step back and look and go, what am I doing that's different than everybody else?
Yeah.
And if you're not good and you're not on your game, and even if you are, it's not going to matter sometimes in the year, because people are always going to go to the new restaurant first. They're always going to try that restaurant. And then if another one opens the next week, they're going to do that one. Yeah. And you add in inflation and people spending less money. I mean, talk about litmus test, ticket averages for restaurants are a litmus test for what's happening in the economy.
Of course.
Because I've known, any restaurant that I've ran, we've been at anywhere from 75, what the restaurants that I run are 75 to $95 per person ticket average, right?
Yeah.
Price PPA. We've seen that go down to around 60, 20. So we've seen 20% drop.
Jeez.
Which, and you're talking about an industry where 10%, if you do really well, 10% off the top is profit.
Yeah.
Right. And that's restaurants. And in these big cities where you have a million people walking by, you have like so much competition and stuff like that. You're seeing restaurants like that really struggle. And that's what he's talking about, this COVID, like at the time of COVID, because if you're paying 35%, cost of goods has gone up 35% with the tariffs and everything else, alcohol, everything else, you're looking at 35%. Like we've had to raise our prices. And so you raise prices, people spend less. Like it's not a good environment to be in right now. And I don't care who is it. Like if you're the new restaurant, yeah, absolutely, because everybody's going to come. But then in 6 months, when they've been to your restaurant, it's going to settle.
Yeah.
You know, and that settling might look very different than what your normal business model would look like, especially when you look at the things that are changing and happening right now from a macro level, without even getting into politics, like just in a macro level. Like we're not seeing the effects of the things that have happened over the last like 2 years, and we won't for another 6 months to a year. And then we're going to start seeing things. So we're planning for those things now.
Right.
So like we're doing things that Ren right now. We're like, nope, we have to get ahead of this right now. We obviously want to offer things that other places don't, but like we have to be sustainable.
Yeah.
We started this restaurant with benefits. Like
Yeah.
Everybody gets them, right? Yeah. And we do that for servers and stuff like that. Everybody gets paid time off, all the stuff like that.
Sure.
And that makes it higher because like, you know, our cost here is a lot, because we're open 4 days a week. That's all we can really do. We're actually changing our hours to kind of pivot in June to where we're open right now. We're open Wednesday through Saturday. In June, we start opening Thursday through Sunday to give people an extra weekend day to eat here. And then Wednesdays, we're going to do a more casual day. No reservations needed. It's going to be like a wine Wednesday where people can just walk in, like especially during the season, grab a glass of wine. We won't have any servers or anything like that. It's just a bartender. Grab a glass of wine, sit wherever you like. If you want something, we'll have like a few bites that people can do according to the wines and selections, because Ryan, our som, is doing that. I think I interviewed him recently.
Yep.
And because and we'll kind of gear. It'll still be very in the same vein of what we do and how we do it, but it'll just be a different way for people can kind of, you know, experience Ren without the 3-hour commitment, the $350 price tag, you know, and things like that. That's why we've opened up the lounge during the week for, you know, kind of a little a la carte thing and wine too. And it's still reservable, so you know that you have that, because it's a little bit of a drive. It's like a 5-minute drive outside of town, and you say, well, that's not a lot, but you got to think about the environment that we're in. Like people, Bentonville is a walkable, bikeable town. Yeah. Right. And so like people want to be able to walk or bike there, you know, and if they drive, they want to be able to drive, park, and walk there within a few minutes. Right. Yeah. People didn't move from LA, New York, you know, Denver, all these places in these huge big cities to deal with the quote infrastructure problems that they had in those cities. Right. They didn't. And you know, they moved here so that they could have access to all the amenities that they have in those big cities in a smaller environment where a community is like growing at an exponential rate. And it's great.
How about switching gears real quick to documentary talk? Okay. Tell me about it.
So we've been filming a documentary about the process of Ren with some amazing individuals since the beginning, since like the entire beginning, since purchasing the property, renovating the house, everything else, and we're in the final stages now. So we should be looking for that to be done. It'll be a full-length documentary, about an hour and a half long. Wow. That kind of chronicles, you know, everything from photography to videography to service to the challenges that we faced. Yeah. From a different perspective. It's not my story. It's definitely our story and what we've done and how we've done it. It ties into kind of my background, like we've talked about a little bit, but it's more about like what we're doing, why we're doing it, and hopefully what we're trying to do for the future of hospitality in this region.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Where will folks be able to see it and when? Do you know yet?
So we're going to pitch to a lot of different people. Good. But you'll be able to see it locally as well once we get all that finalized and stuff like that. So, yeah, you just kind of look for that on social media coming up in the next few months. Yeah.
Follow at Ren Bentonville?
Yeah, just follow at Ren Bentonville, RYN Bentonville. And then go ahead and follow Conifer Bentonville as well.
This has made me hungry. Let's talk food. You ready? Yeah. We'll talk food. We got the Mike Engelman Home Pro Tip of the Week, and that's coming up next right here on the Flavors of Northwest Arkansas.
Let me show you something.
Connect with us at Flavors of Northwest Arkansas on Facebook and Instagram, or by email at flavorsofnwa@gmail.com.
Alrighty, it's time for the Mike Engelman Home Pro Tip of the Week. For that, go to Chef Matt. Sir, what is your tip?
So my tip is right now in the season, the best thing you can be that's growing all over the place right now are beets and radishes. And if you love beets and radishes like I do, there are so many fun things that you can do. It's a great way to have prepped food as well, already ready to go. So, we do a half pickle on our beets. So that's like half vinegar, half water, sugar, a little bit of bay leaf, pink peppercorns, and just pickle them like that. And then you can reserve them later so that the second you get home from work, you can make a quick salad and get some food in you before you need to cook dinner, or if that's your dinner too. Shave some of those beautiful radishes on there, and you're good to go. Pair that with burrata, and you've got a meal.
Slam bang right there.
So good. Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Your story doesn't have to end. As an organ donor, the good in you can live on. In fact, you can save up to 8 lives through organ donation. Sign up to give the gift of life after you're gone. You'll be happy you did. Just maybe, someone else will too. Sign up online today as an organ, eye, and tissue donor at organdonor.gov. It saves lives.
So if you are signed up to be an organ donor, like Chef Cooper here, we thank you. Thank you very much. If you're one of the 35% of eligible Arkansans that have not, here's how you do it. And please do it. As we always talk about every week, you don't take them with you. There's no reason to. Go to organdonor.gov. Get signed up there. The Arkansas link, it takes 5 minutes to just go through and get signed up. Same with the Texas link. As we always say, I don't know about the other ones, but I'm sure it's not too much longer. Organdonor.gov is the place to go. Also, the health app on your iPhone, if you're an iPhone person, like I guess 90% of us, if that's...
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
They've made it very easy.
They have made it so easy. Get signed up through the health app, or you can do old school, like I did way back in the day, the DMV. When you go to renew your license, tell them you want to be an organ donor, they'll put it on there, or Department of Finance here in Arkansas. Just please do it. Don't take them with you. As always, thanks so much. And we're back with Chef Cooper talking Ren. You ready to talk food?
Let's go.
Let's get after it. Looking for a real high-level definition of your food, basically.
So what we do is everything that we've done at Conifer. Like we talk about that kind of tree of values at Conifer that we have, like local first, seasonal, regional, and then the best we can source after that, right? So with Ren, we do all of that. And then we add one on top, which is we grow it. So the level of food that we do here is still very much, it is a hard conversation to have because it is, I don't like the word fine dining a lot, really.
Yeah.
Obviously with the price ticket and stuff like that, it's a 10-course tasting menu with some extras. Everything is grown, everything that you're going to eat, everything that we grow on the farm, we serve here, plus some things that you don't get from here that are sustainable and fit all of those those markers as well. So you're going to get a tailored, custom tasting menu experience that is specific to you. And what's significant about that is I have been to even Michelin restaurants that do not and will not do this, and that's their thing, and this is ours, right?
Yeah.
We are a dedicated gluten-free restaurant. We accommodate all dietary restrictions. I know what I just said, and I heard it out loud.
Yeah.
Right? But at some point in time, like we had 30 covers the other night. We had 15 different menus.
Wow. Okay, so for someone like me,
Right.
I've had a kidney transplant. I
Right.
can't have anything raw.
Right.
Any beef or anything needs to be like medium.
Right.
And I was a medium rare guy.
Right.
But I can't do anything
Right.
but medium and beyond, and I can't have grapefruit or star fruit.
Right.
Period.
Yep.
And it's like that for you guys. And I'm
Yeah,
sure you get that a lot.
When you come in here, you are paying for an experience,
Yeah.
and you are paying to be treated just as equally as anyone else.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you're vegan, then you get a vegan tasting menu.
Okay.
And it's the same amount of care and thoughtfulness has gone into that as the menu that we're serving that week.
Okay.
And so we do a vast number of menus every single week. Every day we come in and we talk about the dietary restrictions. We've planned it the day before, and we've got a plan for the entire week. So we have our normal tasting menu that is basically like what we've designed if no one has anything or any dietary restrictions or anything like that. But whether alpha-gal, vegan, nut allergies, like coconut, random, garlic, onion, it doesn't matter. Like you will get a thoughtfully designed tasting menu that caters to you.
Which, by the way, is why reservations are so important.
Yes. And that's so all of our business has to be reservations, right? And just like we talked about economy, everything else. And, so that's why we're pivoting, and, everything's about pivoting. I like being transparent. We're moving to give one more weekend day to give people an extra day to come in to help us be more sustainable, right?
Yeah.
And so, everything's about that, because what that equals, and you're like, what does sustainability mean? Everybody talks about profitability and things like that. When we talk about profitability to us at Conifer here, because we're our pillars again, and what we want to do and what we're not willing to compromise on is having a healthy, amazing environment for our people, and then supporting our local economy. That's why we exist. If we can't do those things, eventually, not being sad or anything, but we just won't be here. We're here. That's just a reality. Not going to pivot, not going to do other things like that. That's why we exist. We have to stay true to what we are. And I think we help so many people, not only in the community, like some of our farmers rely on us to feed their families. And that's important. That's why we're here. So being able to do those things is really important.
In podcast number 5, which I keep referring to it as, you had talked about that, and I think you had talked about, getting parts of the lamb that no one else gets and making something out of it that's beautiful and tasty.
Yeah, and so what's great about that is Conifer's been extremely successful being able to do that.
Yeah.
So we can tailor our experience here to a lot of those, to a lot of different things too. So it's that notch again. So at Conifer, we burned through so much local product. We almost had to open a farm so we could fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
So we didn't have to order commercial stuff during the seasons, right? And it gives us the opportunity now to where we can use even smaller farmers that only have one cow or two things of strips or something like that, where it wouldn't make sense at Conifer. Logistically, it's just too hard. We have to stick with the people that we know. So we're able to use even more local farmers here when we need things other than what we're growing on our farm, because we can change the menu daily or weekly, and it does, because and we can talk about this more, but if it rains too much, then the farm changes overnight.
Yeah.
Right? Suddenly we have way more than we would have needed to. So the farmers come in, we talk, we're like, okay, listen, this is what we have to do. There's no way we're going to go through all these. Last year it was lemon cucumbers.
Okay.
It's I had this grand dream for lemon cucumbers because I love them. And very quickly, we had this huge rain, and then suddenly we had 60 pounds of lemon cucumbers. I called up Luke at Oven and Tap. I was like, you need lemon? Just take them. Conifer took them, we took them, we used them, and tried to, and the farm stand wasn't open now, which now we have our farm stand open that does everything that Conifer does. It sells stuff from this farm, things that we make in the kitchen.
Sure.
And then supports all other local makers and vendors, and we're starting out really slow and kind of growing from there. We got
nice.
local meats and things like that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very awesome. My gosh. So
reservations are really Yeah. You like that? You like how we just go off on the rails, and I'm like, oh, there it is. It popped in my brain.
I'd forgotten that was the question.
This is where we were. So reservations are extremely important to the sustainability of our restaurant, so that we can continue to do everything that we do, not only for this community, but for our people as well. Again, the reason that we exist, and I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Yeah. The reason we exist is so that we can do the things for our people, and so we can push the narrative of what sustainable hospitality looks like in the region, and then support our local economy. And everything that we do and make goes right back into those things.
We got to get back to the cucumber you dangled there about rain and things like that completely changes the farm, that completely changes the menu, and how you have to turn on a dime.
Yeah, it really makes it challenging. Because we went into the first season. So talk about the first season. We went into the first season like last year with like these grand dreams of all these things that we wanted to grow, right? And we have like 10 experimental rows where we grow things that we wouldn't normally grow here, or you wouldn't get a lot of yield out of,
Sure.
to see if we could do that. That way, eventually, in this longer term, we could pass that pro forma on to local farmers. So that, because right now, let's talk about right now. The only thing growing right now, there's a bunch of stuff growing, but the only thing that people are using right now, you've got radishes, beets, carrots, a mess ton of greens,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it.
Okay.
That's it. There's nothing else. So
Gotcha.
like, if for two restaurants that use all local produce and stuff like that, like, what are we doing? So like at Conifer, we're pivoting, and like we're making a halibut dish, Pacific Northwest, out of the water us the next day, and like a problem. This goes back to the problem. How do we use stuff? Everybody's got radishes, so we're going to do a Chateau de Fay, which is like a buttery, sugary radish dish, and then we put the halibut on top and brown butter almonds, stuff like that. But suddenly, something that like you can't shave enough radish on everything. Do you know what I mean? But everybody's growing it, so we've got all these narratives that are happening at the farm with how we can be more sustainable and how we can give some options to some other people, including us. We've got, however many things growing, medicinal herbs growing. We make our own teas, and you get a little thoughtful little thing at the end and things like that. But the challenge is how do we, it's not just how we use it, because if something blows up or something dies, then we just pivot to something else that's growing. That's less hard. What's hard is when we have an overabundance that we didn't plan for, or that just went crazy. So the amount of communication that we have to have from Chloe and Mallory, who are our farmers, to Christine, who handles kind of the relations and the communication from the farm, everything has to be very specific.
Sure.
Right? So Tommy and Christine are running the kitchen with myself, because I'm jumping back between both restaurants, cooking, prepping, washing dishes, paying, like doing all the things. And then Christine handles the relations from the farm to here, meaning like this is what it looks like from an infrastructure standpoint to make sure these are the things we have to use next week, and trying to be a week ahead. But when weather and wind and everything else changes that, then we pivot on a dime. So that's the biggest challenge, is staying, quote, sustainable and using everything on the farm first, and not pivoting and be like, but it's so easy just to pick up the phone and even call one of our other farmers.
Sure.
But if we have stuff out there, it's like, okay, how do we make all this radicchio, which was like, I love radicchio, but then we had too much. Like, how do we put it on the menu?
Yeah.
Like,
sure,
it's a bitter green. A lot of people don't like it. How are we going to do that? So we had like radicchio in 3 different ways. We had a radicchio salad. We did a braised radicchio and served it with a steak. And we just found creative ways. And what that does is it pushes us to be creative in ways that we never even thought were possible.
For sure.
And it's really, really, it's just an amazing process, and it sucks sometimes, but that's how we get to where we want to be, and it pushes us to evolve. But
there are also huge wins.
Yeah, there's amazing wins. Like I think that one steak dish, and I didn't even think about that. Like right now we're doing a stuffed chicken, and we're using all the garlic and stuff like that, and stuffing a chicken thigh and stuff like that. And you normally wouldn't get that on a tasting menu, but the preparation that goes into that is pretty insane. It's pretty insane.
You think
like,
so?
Did you just say you're going to have a stuffed chicken breast on a tasting menu? Yeah, we do. And it's delicious, and it's executed very well, and a lot of time and effort go into the thought process.
It sounds like a little more than a taste.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a little more than a taste.
It is a little more than a taste. So planning for the farm, with it being, eaten here, obviously, it's got to be year or years in advance.
It is. So we're planning we just had a conversation with the kitchen team and the farm team, and we have to have the fall plan by next week.
Woof.
Yeah.
My gosh. Okay. All right. How's that going? How has that been going?
It's good, because we learned a lot from last fall.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, again,
sure,
like a lot of radicchio. And trying to figure out how we can make maximum use of our high tunnel during the winter and stuff like that. Because we still had a lot. Everybody's like, oh, you didn't have any. No, we had so much stuff growing outside as well, because we had a pretty mild winter.
Yep.
And then maybe what it looks like it doesn't look really good to add another high tunnel, like from a physiology standpoint and a visual standpoint, because right now, especially in the season, so that's why I would tell people, like, each season that we have is going to offer something very vastly different and unique. So I wouldn't say like we're not just a spring and summer restaurant. In the wintertime, we offer, everything gets heavy and beautiful and dark, and it gives us an opportunity to do really, really unique things that we're growing in a season when there's not a lot of light and stuff like that. And then when everything's bright and stuff like that, everything turns to like chaud froid and hot cold and like super fresh. And we're harvesting things like on the garden during service.
Yeah.
You know, like I've been out there, I don't know how many times, harvesting bronze fennel or some of the, like we go so many different, we're doing a lot of intercropping and things like that. So we're out there harvesting like right before.
Yeah.
Like right before you eat it.
That's great.
Like, so it's
amazing.
It's definitely a challenge, and it gives us, and that's the hardest thing, right? Is how do we do that? So it's staying, like, kind of holding to ourselves with those pillars that we talked about.
And you're right about the winter. All of my weeds survived.
Yes,
they did.
All of them.
All of them.
The lavender survived in our garden. I was like, well, then that was a mild winter.
That's something, right?
We even
That's
had
something.
rosemary. I've never seen rosemary survive.
My rosemary survived.
Did it? Yeah. But it's never survived before.
I've never had
Pacific Northwest. It grows like trees.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's just, and I don't understand it because it gets cold there too. But something about the differential in the temperature.
I think so. I wonder if it's humidity.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's great. You were talking about the farm. You have farm tours, right?
Yeah. So we do farm tours for. Like we do a lot of collaborations. We work with the Ignite students at Brightwater and stuff
sweet.
like
Okay.
that.
Gotcha.
And then we're always doing farm tours for educational tours and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
We've got some initiatives because this is stage 1. Stage 2 looks very different.
Yeah.
Like we've got 50 acres here. There's going to be a lot of things. We are working with Tim Hammer, working with Tim Hammer, who is a naturalist and a wild forager in the state, and we we've got over 30 varieties, I'd say, of wild edibles on our property. So we're doing controlled burns all over our property and getting rid of all the invasive species that allow for all the beautiful native species growing. And so we're harvesting things that are grown wild on our land as well.
No kidding.
And we have the knowledge to do so, and it works out really, really well. So you're seeing all these things, and we're actually planting wild natives as well all over the property. Everything from mulberries, black mulberries, to persimmons, to black cherry, to everything.
That's
we've
great.
got peach tree, we've got a fig tree.
Wow.
We got 90 third generation fig trees that Jesse over at 5 Farms outside of Fayetteville brought to us, and those are planted on the land too now. So we've got all these native varieties to where hopefully in the next year or so people would be able to come to the farm stand and then walk a curated path through the land to be able to with things tagged, kind of like when you're walking to Compton Gardens. It's not going to be that nice, obviously, but we'll show this is a native persimmon. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
This is when it's harvested, and then be able to walk people and do educational tours and stuff like that.
That's great.
So it's a part of a bigger, not just trying to grow and farm and stuff like that, but encourage the growth of native species that have been edible forever. We've got wild onions growing all over the property already. We've got shiso that people pay an insane amount of money for that grows like a weed all over our land.
Wow.
We've got spice bush that's all over the backside of the property and stuff like that we'll use for black pepper and stuff like that. It's just, and learning it's kind of like when you buy a new car and you're like, I've never seen that car before. And then you're driving and then you start seeing that car everywhere.
Right.
It's the same thing. We have wild mountain mint that grows all over our land and just
gosh.
sprouts up everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, it's just a really beautiful experience being able to harvest from the land as well and see it in a form in which nature intended it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, big changes in June.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Yeah.
You're a busy man.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I appreciate you letting me bogart some of your time here.
No, I really appreciate it. Thanks
It's
so
my
much
pleasure.
for the time.
Yeah, thank you. How can folks find you, by the way?
So they can find us at Ren Bentonville.
That's right.
At
You said
Ren
that.
Bentonville, but
Yep.
that's the website as well. So www.renbentonville.com. You can make reservations on our website. You can see the things that we're coming up. Also, Sun Painted Farms is our farm.
Okay.
And so it's Ren at Sun Painted Farms, and then you always, we cross promote on both restaurants, so you can do at Conifer Bentonville as well. Starting in June, we are open from Wednesday through Sunday.
Right.
Thursday through Sunday is going to be our tasting menu. So reservation only. Again, we have that lounge experience as well each night that is less time, less money. That kind of gives you the opportunity to experience Ren. And then on Wednesdays in June, we are starting Wine Wednesdays curated by our Som Ryan, who will select regional wines. Yeah, regional wines each time. And we'll have some small bites. So very casual, no reservation needed. It's really just a chance to come come, have a glass of wine or two,
Yeah.
walk around the farm, get 1 or 2 small bites, again, curated to be eaten with the wines that we're selecting.
Yeah.
And then just give people, again, a reason to come to the farm without having that time commitment and stuff like
Awesome.
that. And that just helps us be more sustainable and continue to offer the amazing things that we're doing for our people and for the community. We want to be able to do that for a long time.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, appreciate you very much.
Got it. Flavors of Northwest Arkansas, you can find on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate your time. Tip your servers. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.